So today I'm going to share something of a personal journey that I've been on over the last 2 years, and that is specifically around alcohol and giving up alcohol. So for the last 2 years, 2 and a bit years, I have been off the booze, and I want to share some of the journey because I would share some of the journey that I have had with booze and some of the issues that it had brought up for me. And when I share things like that, the amount of people that reach out, the amount of messages that I get from people who are looking to break that habit, looking to break that pattern, it is a lot. And a lot of people feel stuck. A lot of people feel that there's a sense of fear there that if I go off alcohol, if I stop drinking, if I do this thing that I know deep down a lot of the times I want to do and I feel that I need to do, if I do this thing, that then all the other things that I do in my life are going to be worse, let's say, which is crazy when you think on it. It's really, really crazy. But it shows the power that we have been conditioned by to believe that we need this in our life. I'm an Irishman, as you can imagine. Culturally, alcohol is massive in Ireland. You can imagine what it's like. I think we're synonymous and known throughout the world with alcohol and how much Irish people love to have a good drink. And again, if that's what you do and you do love to do that, then fantastic. If you're in control of that, then fantastic. I'm not here to judge, I'm here to share a story. I'm here to share my journey of why, first and foremost, I wanted to stop drinking and the challenges that brought, and then the benefits that I've felt from now being off the booze for 2 years. So if I look back at my life, and I'm just going to be totally honest here in this sharing of information. If I look back at my life from I was a kid, the whole way through, in my teens, in my 20s, in my 30s, there was a lot of things that I did that, let's say, I wouldn't be too proud of. And those things were never really around being sober. They were always around alcohol. And a lot of the challenges and a lot of the positions and a lot of the things that I did and got myself into in terms of trouble was always around alcohol. And from a young age, I had been involved in drinking and partying and doing all the things that you do as you're a youngster coming up. And a lot of the challenges that I seen myself getting into again was always around alcohol. So I think that when I look back, I've always had a problem with it that I didn't really fully grasp or understand. And when you're younger, you just don't care. When you're younger, it's like, well, I'm going out, that's what everybody else does. We go out and party, we go out and drink, and you get yourself into some serious conditions, some serious states. You brush yourself off, you have a wee bit of a hangover when you're younger, and then you're ready to go again. That starts to change when you start to get a bit older, but you're still stuck in the same patterns. You can still see some of the destructive habits that you stay stuck in because of alcohol. So in your 20s, yes, of course, you're going out and experimenting, you're learning, you're trying to find yourself. You haven't got really much of a calling, let's say. Maybe you're even trying to find that. You're trying to find your purpose. But a lot of what you do every single weekend is based around alcohol. Not everybody, of course, but for me, that's the way it was. A lot of the trouble and a lot of the issues that I got myself into was based around alcohol also. Things like smashing cars, head on onto a wall, not even remembering it after a few days of drinking and partying. Things like getting into trouble and arguments and fights and embarrassing yourself in certain situations. Just things that when you look back and you look at how alcohol influences the decisions that you make, that you just wouldn't do in any situation if you were sober. It just wouldn't happen. So again, I'm not demonizing alcohol, because if you enjoy it and you feel that it's part of your life and it's okay for you, brilliant. But for me, it wasn't. For me, it was destructive, not all the time, but in a lot of times. And what I wanted to do was I wanted to change that. So In my 20s and my 30s, I hadn't even thought about giving up alcohol. It wasn't really a thing. I thought about it every now and again, obviously, when you have a sore head and a hangover and you're thinking, my God, this is kind of really doing my head in. But to actually get off it, it wasn't something that I really thought about until probably into my mid-30s. I was getting into my mid-30s and suddenly these things like hangovers and how it was impacting me was really starting to get me down. Like the hangovers would last for a couple of days, even if I was only having a few beer, even if I was only having a couple of glasses of wine, the impact that it was starting to have on me mentally was really starting to like grain on me. It was really starting to drain my energy. And as a coach, a businessman, an entrepreneur, running a business, those things were starting to become even more apparent. They were becoming more profound. The way it was leaving my energy, the way it was leaving my thought processes, the way it was impacting my confidence, etc., in terms of how I was showing up. It was starting to become something that I knew I needed to shift and change. And that started to become louder and louder and louder internally as I kind of got into my 30s, late 30s. I'm now 43. And in my mind I said, when I'm 40, I'm going to give up alcohol. And I don't know why that was or what that was, but for a while I had said that when I'm 40, I'm going to give up alcohol. And I was 41 when it happened. I gave it up for about a year and I felt a massive benefit from it. I felt a massive difference from not drinking. It just felt like so different after the space of a few months. My energy felt different, my sleep was improved, my focus was improved, my productivity improved, my confidence improved, everything improved. And then lockdowns happened and the world went into a tailspin and I thought, well, okay, having a few drinks isn't going to be a bad thing. So I had a few drinks again. And what I found was probably for about another year again, internally I was going, I want to get back to how I felt when I wasn't drinking. I want to get back to how I felt when I wasn't having any beer or wines or any booze at all. And I struggled to actually get back to that for at least a year. So the difference that I felt over that year from not drinking any alcohol at all and being sober was profound. And then when I went back on it again, I felt the difference. And here's the thing, it's hard for you to feel that difference if you've never given yourself that break. It's hard for you to know what it's like not drinking alcohol if you've never given yourself that chance. And for years, I'd never given myself that chance. For years, it was just the norm. You know, drink every weekend, party, drink yourself sometimes into oblivion, and not even looking at those patterns and looking at those habits and thinking, there's something wrong here. And it was normalized. You know, it was normalized in who I ran around with. It was normalized with my friend groups. It was normalized as a culture. Those patterns and the destructive patterns in alcohol was just normalized. So if it's normalized in your head, then why would you need to change it? And one of the biggest things for me was not only in looking at my kids and my daughter, but also in my business. You know, how it was impacting me in terms of how I felt within my business was something that I knew I needed to change and something that I felt I wanted to change. And as a coach, I knew that for me to really feel authentic, for me to really like walk my talk properly, for me to really practice what I preached, it was the one habit that I needed to change. It was the one habit that I felt that I want to take away so that I can then really feel most authentic to myself. Now, was it easy? No, it wasn't easy at all. And I'm not saying that it is easy to do it if it's something that you want to do. But here's what I really began to focus on and what I really began to shift and change. I really began to look at what do I get to gain? What do I get to gain from not drinking alcohol? Because so many times we focus on what we lose. We focus on what we don't get to do. Oh, I can't get to drink at a wedding. I can't get to drink at my holidays. I can't get to drink at a birthday. I can't get to drink at on and on and on and on. And we allow those things as reasons to say, well, once this is over, once that's over, once this is over, then I'm going to stop. But there's always going to be an occasion that you can drink at. So once I got the shift in my mindset to say that, what did I get to gain? I got to gain better energy. I got to gain more productivity. I got to gain less emotional volatility. I got to gain better sleep. I got to gain more business. I got to gain more confidence. And once I focused on those things, I really began to create the shift in my habits that was needed in order for that to happen, in order for me to be now over 2 years of not drinking any alcohol. And over the last 2 years, the changes that I have seen personally, professionally, in myself has been massive. It really, really has. Like the changes that I have seen in how I feel right now compared to where I was 2 years ago in my health, mentally, physically, emotionally, has been profound. My sleep has improved, my skin has improved, my energy improved, my business improved, my confidence improved, the way I put myself out there, the way I show up has all improved. Because I'm not doing the thing that I knew I didn't really want to do deep down. And when you break that pattern within yourself and you break a habit that you've been trying to break and that you know that it's been destructive, that automatically gives you self-confidence. That automatically makes you feel better, that you've overcome something that you, in your mind, have wanted to do, but maybe you felt that you couldn't do. So the level of confidence and self-esteem that you can take from conquering something like that automatically gives you more self-belief in you. It gives you more confidence. It gives you the ability to raise your own standards. And I got a lot of that from that. I've got a lot of that from the last 2 years of not drinking any alcohol. And will I say that the last 2 years hasn't been challenging? There's been times when it has. But over time, the thought or the need or the desire to have a drink has just kind of dissipated. I can go into situations, I can go into events, nights out, meals out, go on holidays, do all the things that I thought would have been challenging. I can do them all without it being a challenge anymore. So here's what I would like you to think about if this is resonating with you and it's something that you know that deep down you want to do but maybe don't have the courage to do it, or maybe you feel like it's too much of a challenge for you. If it's something that is reoccurring in your mind time and time again, like it was for me for a long period of time, you have to ask yourself, why am I still repeating that same pattern? Why am I still going towards what it is that I'm going towards? Sometimes that might be because of your environment, it might be because of a friend group, it might be because of a relationship, but it can also be because of an unfulfilled desire, an unfulfilled highest value, an unfulfilled version of yourself that you want to be. Maybe you're not getting to fulfill something that deep down you want to do. Maybe you're not getting to be yourself. Maybe you're not actually just being your authentic self. Maybe you're not stepping into whatever it is that you really want to step into. And here's the thing, and you'll hear me talk about this a lot, especially in a coaching perspective, where I coach a lot of people around values. Anytime that we don't live in our highest values and we live in low values, we want immediate gratification. We usually go towards impulsive behaviors and actions, and a lot of the times they're destructive and distractions that take us away from being who we ultimately want to be. So that could be in your career, it could be in your job, it could be in your business, it could be in a relationship. There could be many different reasons, of course. But if we don't get to feel like we're being ourselves and we're not getting to live our highest values and do the thing that we find most inspiring, well then when we live in lower values and do low priority things, we can't feel like a high value person. And if we're doing low priority things that drain our energy, that make us not feel confident and inspired, that we know we're not actually tapping into the greatest version of ourselves, the best version of ourselves, then when we do that on a consistent basis, a lot of our behaviors will be towards distractions, and alcohol is the biggest one. It's the easiest one. It's the one that you go to because you're bored. It's the one that you go to because you've had a hard week and you've been doing something that you, in your mind, think, I need to get away from. Maybe you've had a hard week at work and then all of a sudden you use this to relax. So all of those things I've seen, all of those things I've used, all those patterns I fell into. And I would work hard in my job, my business. I would coach a lot and I would be pushing. And then all of a sudden I would say, right, okay, I need a wee drink now to relax. It's the only thing that helps me switch off. But why do you need to switch off? Why do you need to relax from something if you're really doing what it is that you really want to do? So those are also symptoms for you to look at to see, am I really being myself? Am I really stepping into that best version? Am I really being authentic to who I really want to be? Am I living in my highest values? Or am I living a life that's a version of somebody else other than the person internally I know that I want to be and I know that I can be? And that's where I was at. Now, I've been coaching and running businesses for 20 years. I was doing all that. But was I doing it to my best ability? Probably not. Now, am I saying that you can't run a business and be successful and have alcohol in your life? Of course not. There's loads of people that do. But that wasn't me. It was getting to a point where it wasn't just about business and everything else. It was about how I was feeling mentally. It was about, why am I doing this thing that I know I don't want to do? I know that it's having a negative effect on my energy. It's having a negative effect on my confidence. It's having a negative effect on my business and my relationships, etc. And it was also something that I looked at and went, what am I teaching my kids? What am I doing as a father? How am I showing up as a father? So once I really started to look at all those things, I knew that I wanted to change it. I knew that I wanted to create something different for myself. And again, I will say that the last few years, it's been that. I've put myself out there more. I'm doing podcasts like this. I do a lot more speaking. I coach a lot more people. My business is growing. I have more energy. I've got more focus. I have better sleep. I have more emotional stability. I'm not getting triggered as much by this, that, and the other. And I just feel more content within myself. I feel more content and at peace and at ease within myself. So what I would ask you to look at is, if it's something that you feel you want to change, definitely go and speak to someone. Definitely put your hand up and go and ask for help. Go and look at why you're repeating certain patterns. Go and look at why you feel that you need this in your life. And if it's something that you really want to change, here's what I want to leave you with. I want to leave you with the thought that you have to have something bigger and greater and more inspiring that you're moving towards, rather than the habits that keep you stuck going through the same patterns every single weekend, drinking, getting hungover, trying to start again, drinking, getting hungover, trying to start again. You have to have something more inspiring for yourself that you're moving towards, that will pull you towards that version, rather than the habits of alcohol every single weekend, every single weekday, whatever it might be, that's keeping you stuck in the version that you don't want to be. So what is that for you? It might be as a better father. It might be as a better mother. It might be as a better coach, teacher. It might be that you can step up as a better version of yourself in your career and move up a ladder. Whatever it might be for you. Whatever you find most inspiring. Create something that you're moving towards and that you find more energy to move towards, and that you find more inspiration from to move towards, rather than something that just keeps you stuck in the same patterns. Doing the things that deep down a lot of the times you just don't want to do. So that's what I want to leave you with. And I wanted to just share some information around kind of some of my journey and how I found it. As I said, from a very young age, I think the very first time I had a drink of alcohol, I was 12. At 17, I got into a lot of bother because of alcohol. In my 20s, I got into a lot of bother because of alcohol. In my 30s, I see myself in places and situations and got myself into a lot of bother because of alcohol. Those things would never have happened if I was sober. I wouldn't have made those decisions. So it's time sometimes to question ourselves and go, why am I making those decisions? Why am I doing those things? Why am I repeating the same patterns over and over and over again? And if I don't change it, where am I going to be? And if you do change it, where can you be? And all I can share is how I feel at almost 2 years, just over 2 years actually, of being booze free is I feel like a completely different person. I feel like I've evolved so much in those 2 years. I feel like I've changed mentally, physically, emotionally. I feel fresher, have more energy, etc. And I just feel better within myself. So know that if you want to stop and you want to change, you can do that 100%. Reach out, speak to somebody, get advice, get yourself around the right type of people who are doing the things that you want to do, and get yourself away from situations that will pull you back into the version of yourself that you don't want to be. And create a vision for yourself that you want to move towards that's more powerful than staying stuck in the patterns and the habits that is keeping you in the same situation time and time again. Create that future version, create that vision for yourself, create that image of yourself, of who you want to be, how you want to feel, how you want to show up in the world, and the life that you want to live. And then make a commitment to move towards that every single day. Okay guys, speak soon.